What is the biggest position battle for the Detroit Lions this offseason? Let's talk about it. There are tons of great position battles that will be going on this offseason, but what is the most important? Like, what's the biggest one? Where's the biggest hole? What is it? Is it the number 2 cornerback position? Is it the wide receivers? Is it the backup quarterback? What is it? I think there's a lot of options, and I think you can go with a lot of different ones. I think the cornerback position is a very easy one to go with, right? And it probably should be. I mean, we've struggled at the cornerback position for a long time, so to say that it's not one of the biggest ones, then you'd be crazy. But I'm going to go with the guard position, okay? I think that last offensive line position is so important because my thing is, if you can't block, our offense is going to struggle. It's going to struggle. I love all the weapons we got. I like TJ Hockenson. I like all the wide receivers. I like Carryon. I like Stafford. I don't know about our offensive line. And if our offensive line does not play well, we will struggle in 2019 once again. And I think that's the biggest thing that we may have to fix for 2019. We have a lot of question marks, but I think the offensive line is the most important because if our offensive line can't block, we won't be able to run. We won't be able to throw. We've had it before where Matthew Stafford was getting sacked constantly, and we weren't throwing a lot in those games. We played the Minnesota Vikings where he was getting sacked like 10 times a game. Like, that's not supposed to happen. And we can't run the ball if you can't block. Like, the thing is, if you can block, anybody can run the ball. I'm just going to be honest with that. I love our running backs, and I think they can make a couple extra guys miss. Maybe make a guy miss in the backfield. Maybe they have the speed to get to the outside. But the fact is, if you can block, anybody can run. We've seen it before. We've seen it with the Dallas Cowboys, right? Ezekiel Elliott was their running back, and it was like, oh, Elliott's crazy. He's so good. But then they had that other running back come in from the Redskins, and he was doing like the exact same numbers. And it was like, how is this old man doing that? Well, because their offensive line is so good that it really doesn't matter who their running back is. He's not going to put up the exact same production, but he's going to be super, super good. So it really all comes down to our offensive line. Is our offensive line going to hold up in 2019? And it has to. And that's where that guard position comes into question. I'm confident in Taylor Decker. I'm confident in Rick Wagner, even though he's a little older. He's had to deal with injuries. At least we know what we're going to get out of him. You know we're going to get out of Graham Glasgow. Even if he's moving, I'm confident in Glasgow. He's been doing his thing for years as a third-round pick out of Michigan. He's been great. So has Frank Ragnow. He was good last season. Now he's going to move that center position. I expect him to be even better. But it's that last guard spot. Because TJ Lang left, it's that last guard spot that what are we going to do? And honestly, our offensive line has been great in the last few years. So even though if we would have had TJ Lang, it would have been great. Like, do we really want to 100% believe that this is going to be a great offensive line? We have the same offensive line we've had for years. So what did we do in the offseason? Did we go draft one? No, we did not. Did we bring in some undrafted free agents? Sure. We brought in Bo from Wisconsin. We brought in Ryan Pope. We brought in a few guys. We brought in free agents like DoseOfDion. We brought in a few guys to compete. And we also have guys on the team. Terrell Crosby, Joe Dahl, Kenny Wiggins. So who wins that position? And right now I think the front runner is Kenny Wiggins. And if it is Wiggins, you better step up and play very well. Now there's going to be tons of competition, so everybody's going to be pushing each other. That's what's really good, is that everybody's going to be fighting for that spot, so it should make everybody else better, which is very important. But with that being said, I mean, we don't really know who our guard is yet. I mean, we've seen multiple things throughout the offseason of different guards playing. We've seen Kenny Wiggins out there. We've seen DoseOfDion out there. We have seen a lot of different things. Now, Terrell Crosby, I don't know if we've seen a lot of, but I think there's a chance he plays because he's a veteran experience. Now, you could also, talk about undrafted free agents. These guys were good. Like, these were good players in the draft, like Bo, who didn't get drafted. And I was like, why did they not get drafted? And then he ended up with the Detroit Lions. This dude could literally start week 1. He could be one of the biggest, most important pieces of our team. If someone comes in and takes over that guard position and plays phenomenal, he's going to be maybe one of the most important players on our team. It's just that simple. If Bo comes in and does that, he's the best free agent that we signed. He would be the best free agent that we signed. I would say that because it's just that important. You have to have a good offensive line. Every successful team has a good offensive line. And our defense, I'm confident in. That should be great. I love our weapons. Like, we have Stafford has help, right? But he needs to have an offensive line. And I would trade that every day. I would trade the best offensive line for weapons, because if you have the best offensive line, you can run the ball, which sets up the pass because his quarterback can stand around. Now, he has to move a little bit. I mean, you're not going to get all day to stand there. But it just has to be really good. So I'm hoping our offensive line does their thing in 2019. I think that's the biggest concern going into 2019 that we really haven't addressed a lot, but there's really not a lot to say. It's kind of just hoping at this point. And I hate to say that because it's like, man, look at all the weapons we run, and we should be really good. I think we will be good. It just really comes down to the offensive line. I mean, it's all on the offensive line. If the offensive line doesn't live up, they play bad. If they let Stafford get hit a lot, if he gets hurt, if, injuries happen to everybody, if we can't run the ball because we can't block, that's a problem. And if that's the case, we're not going to succeed in 2019, and it's going to be a lot on our defense and a lot on Stafford once again because he's not going to have a lot of help. So saying that Matthew Stafford has help around him is kind of my fault because I don't know if we have that offensive line, and that's the biggest question right now for me. So I shouldn't say he has the best supporting cast until we know what his offensive line can do. With that being said, let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. I hope our offensive line is really good in 2019 and lives up to that potential. Anyways, thank you, Prep, for watching, and I'm out.